Voting, How You Should Do It and Why You Should, created by Noah Gephardt and voiced by me, Marissa Toole. We are both students at Canterbury High School. This year's election is extremely important. For many of you, this could be your first time voting. On behalf of the Fort Wayne League of Women Voters, I would like to urge you to join the masses of people our age who will be voting for the first time this year. This video will explain why and how you should vote, as well as explain how to register, check your voting status, and the two primary methods of voting. This video is presented by the League of Women Voters, which was established more than 100 years ago in order to register women to vote. Since then, the League has broadened our function in order to register youth, marginalized Americans, and immigrants that have just become citizens. For more information, visit the League's website. It's easy to vote. If it is your first time voting, it is important to register to vote before the deadline. In order to be able to register to vote, you must be a United States citizen, a resident of Indiana for the last 30 days, be 18 on or before Election Day, not currently imprisoned, and have a valid photo ID, which you must bring to the polls when voting. Most use their driver's license as a photo ID, but if you do not have a driver's license, an Indiana ID card is available for free. For more information on the Indiana ID card, visit the BMW website. It is also important to ask yourself whether you are registered at your current address. To verify, visit indianavoters.com. Conveniently enough, visiting indianavoters.com also brings an unregistered voter to a simple way to register online. The process of registering to vote is much less intimidating than you may believe. Simply visit the site and click the Apply Now button and follow the 4-step process, which the site will guide you through. Some of you may feel that your one vote won't matter at all, and that it has no potential to change anything. However, that simply isn't true. Voting is extremely important, especially in state and local elections, not just for president. If you don't vote, you let other people control your lives, and as the youngest voters, we will live the longest with the consequences, good or bad, of a vote. Your vote will impact the future of your family and friends, not just your own future. Why let other people decide your future? Millennials and Gen Z are the largest voting population. However, this age group also has a low voter turnout, and as a result, we leave decisions up to be made by older generations, such as in the picture. Those 18 to 39 are the largest voting population and can plan their future when they vote. Your vote does make a difference. One extreme example of the role one vote plays in our history is in 1876, when Andrew Johnson was saved from removal from office by only one vote, or 1 year later, when only one vote in the Electoral College gave Rutherford B. Hayes the presidency. In 1960, John F. Kennedy became president by a margin of less than one vote per president nationwide. As president, Kennedy established the Peace Corps and continued the Apollo space program. Another entertaining story of one vote making a difference was in 1920, when a young member of the House of Representatives changed his one vote on ratifying the 19th Amendment, allowing women the right to vote, after his mother sent him a note telling him to do so. Other instances which prove that one vote matters are as follows. In 1867, the Alaska Purchase was ratified by just 2 votes. Without this purchase, Alaska would be more than likely to not be a state today. In 2000, due to winning the state of Florida, George W. Bush became president by only 537 votes. As president, Bush established the Department of Homeland Security and authorized wars in the Middle East. A more local example was in 1996 when Mayor Tom Henry, after demanding a recount, won the city council seat by only 5 votes. Without his experience on the city council, he most likely would not have become mayor of Fort Wayne. As mayor, some of his accomplishments include completing the Ash Skyline Plaza, Parkview Field, Promenade Park, and creating around 6,900 jobs and retaining 21,600 jobs, completing a riverfront development study, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Bridge, and enormously expanding the trails. The final example of the difference of an individual vote was in 2006, when Joe Courtney won a congressional seat by a mere 94 votes. Just by sharing election or candidate information to social media, it is possible to gather that many votes or more, you can incite that kind of change. Clearly, your one vote is very important, as you can help make history and make change in our city, state, country, and even our world. Although it may seem intimidating, the process of voting is fairly simple, but it also is vital to making change in our country. The next section of this presentation will cover how to best go about voting this year, as well as outlining different voting options, such as voting by mail. It is important to become an informed voter in order to ensure that you are making the right decision when it comes time to vote. 3 ways to inform yourself are to research the candidates, look into issues that are important to you, and decide how or where you'll be voting. For example, if you would prefer not to vote in person, it would be helpful to see if you qualify for an absentee ballot. 2 of these useful sites are Vote 411 and Ballotpedia, both of which are non-biased. Vote 411 is a website which provides useful information on candidates and their issues. One useful feature is a side-by-side biography, where you can contrast both candidates and see which aligns more with your views. I encourage you to visit Vote 411 before you vote. Vote 411 can aid you in planning your voting experience and can help you answer questions such as, what ID do I need? Or where are the polling stations located in my area? Before voting, it is important to become educated on the views and values of candidates. Prior to making your decision, research candidates' positions on topics important to you. Sites like Ballotpedia and Vote 411 can be helpful in this research process. When many think of voting, they imagine themselves visiting the polls on Election Day. An alternative way to vote is through absentee ballot. However, in order to obtain an absentee ballot, you must meet one of the following qualifications. Although there are more qualifications, it is unlikely that someone your age would qualify. However, if you are curious, I encourage you to do research and learn more. Some qualifications include 1. You will be away from the country from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., the hours that the polls are open, on Election Day. 2. You have a disability. 3. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Election Day, you are scheduled at work and or school. 4. You are injured or sick or caring for another injured or sick individual. 5. Your religion states that you cannot vote during the time when the polls are open. 6. You have a lack of transportation to the polls. You can request an absentee ballot by mail through indianavoters.com, where you will print and mail out a form. If you are voting in Indiana for the first time, you must include a photocopy of proof of residency with your absentee request. When returning a ballot, please ensure that it has returned to the election board before noon on Election Day. Although not required, it is recommended to drop your ballot in the mail at least 2 weeks before the election. If you are able to choose the absentee ballot option, this video will be helpful.
And we start tonight at 5 o'clock with iTeam 8 and concern with some mail-in ballots. 1 million people in Indiana expected to vote in the general election with mail-in absentee ballots.
iTeam 8 learned several counties are finding ballot errors made by both the voter and the election board. iTeam 8's Richard Essex walks us through the process to make sure your vote counts.
Absentee ballots will appear in an envelope similar to this one. This one is from Hamilton County, and most Indiana counties are using a very similar envelope. Inside, you will find the ballot card, and a return envelope and the state secrecy sleeve, or what is also known as the write-in ballot sleeve. Now, let's start with the ballot and the ballot card. If you are voting for President Trump or former Vice President Biden, find the corresponding number right here, number 23 for President Trump, right there, 25 for former Vice President Biden, and you will have to come over here, find each number, and mark them in. Now, they suggest that you use a pencil, go through your entire ballot in pencil. In case you make a mistake, then you can erase it. But before you send it in, you can use a pen. On the back side of the ballot card, at the bottom, you will find the county seal and 2 initials. Now, it's very important that both of these initials are there. If it arrives in your mailbox with any one of these 3 missing, contact your county clerk for a replacement. I called several of the surrounding county clerks this morning, found that Hamilton County had about 20 ballots go out to voters with one of the missing initials. Boone, Johnson, and Hendricks County had less than 10 of those go out. Now, once the ballot is completed, place it in the state security sleeve. Now, here again, it has to have the county stamp. It has to have both initials. And again, if any of these are missing, contact your county clerk for a replacement ballot. Now, the ballot and the sleeve go into the absentee security envelope. 4 things you must do before you send this envelope back. You have to make sure that it is marked with the proper election date, the proper election date, and right here, this is very, very important. Make sure that you sign the outside of that ballot. Now, make sure that your signature, when you sign it, is pretty much like the ones you sent on your absentee ballot application, because the county clerk has to compare both signatures, and if there's a problem, then your ballot's going to get sent back. Now, the last day to request an absentee ballot is October 22nd. Mail-in absentee ballots must be postmarked on or before Election Day in order for them to count. In the studio, Richard Essex, I-Team 8.
Another alternative voting option is early voting. Presented are locations and dates for this election's early voting opportunities, as well as the absentee ballot deadline. If early voting interests you, I encourage you to visit 411 to review dates and locations that would be most convenient for you. This video will teach you how to use a voting machine if you are voting in person, either early or on Election Day.
How to cast your vote with Microvote Infinity. Push the button next to the candidate of your choice. An X will appear in the box next to the candidate's name. If you wish to change your choice, press the button again, and it will cancel your selection. You may then continue voting. To vote for all candidates of one party, which is referred to as a straight ticket, press the button next to the party of your choice. A straight party button does not cast a vote for referendums or nonpartisan offices. Press the next page button to advance your ballot. Press the prior page button to go back and review your ballot. If you wish to cast a write-in vote, press the write-in button in the office you are voting for. The write-in screen will appear. Push the button next to the desired letters to spell the candidate's name. This name will appear on the center of the screen. Use the space or backspace buttons to advance or retype the candidate's name. Press the Done button at the bottom left of the screen to accept your write-in choice. When your selections are final, the red lights above the Cast Vote button will be lit. Press the Cast Vote button and it will notify you with a thank you that your vote has been cast. If the red lights are not lit above the Cast Vote button, you cannot cast your vote. Remember, you must view all pages of the ballot before you can cast your vote.
It is also important to remember that you have the right to vote, even if you are not on the voter list. This type of vote is called a provisional ballot and is separated until officials can decide if your vote was valid. You also have the right to vote when polls close, the right to vote by secret ballot, and the right to take advantage of alternative voting methods such as mailing in your ballot or voting early. While voting, feel free to ask for help when casting your ballot or request a new ballot if you have made a mistake. It is also acceptable to watch the election process and to ask questions about election procedures. It is important to report any problems if you should notice them. Thank you for your attention. Please remember to register to vote and to cast your vote during this upcoming election. Remember, your voice is important and that your vote will help make a difference in both our community and our country.